Hello students, myself Raminder Kaur and I am going to start with chapter number 16, Digestion and Absorption, a very interesting chapter. So before starting, let's see what are the different contents inside it for read. Number first, we will go through digestive system that will talk about the whole alimentary canal, that how the food comes inside and how it gets digested in our body. Number second, digestion of food, how the different kind of nutrients such as carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins and minerals are going to digested, means they are going to convert into simple molecules from the complex substances. Number third, when those substances get digested, how they're going to absorbed by our body parts. And last topic is different kind of diseases that can occur when there is incomplete or partial digestion that takes place in our body. So let's first of all study the mind map of this chapter. So today we are going to start with the alimentary canal. Different parts of alimentary canal starts with mouth, followed by pharynx, then food pipe or esophagus, then the stomach, followed by small and large intestine, and lastly rectum and anus. There are different kind of membranes which cover the alimentary canal that helps in providing protection, and even different kind of glands are digestive in nature and secrete different kind of enzymes which can help in breakdown of food into simpler substances. So without delaying, let's start this chapter. So the important processes that you have learned in this chapter is number one, ingestion. Whenever you intake a food through your mouth, this term is called ingestion. And when the complex substances are broken down into simpler ones with the help of enzymes is called as digestion. And number third, when that simpler substances like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol, they get absorbed by our blood, that is called absorption. Next, fourth topic is assimilation. When that absorbed food, it provides us energy in the form of ATP, that is called as assimilation. And lastly, we have egestion, when all the waste of our body is removed out through anus. So this is the diagram that showing mouth, then we have three pairs of salivary glands, then the food pipe also known as esophagus, then the stomach, adjoining gland is liver, that is the largest gland of human body, the pancreas, a leaf-like structure, a very important gland in the digestive system, then small intestine. It is mostly coiled and a long structure, but because of its thinner characteristics, it is called as small intestine. That the food goes out through the anus with large intestine. So let's start with the chapter. Why do we need food? Food not only provides us energy, but it is a basic requirement either for the repair of the body organs or the tissues. We need food for our growth, for our development. You must have read that adolescent or the puberty time is the time when the height also gets seized, but afterwards also we need food for the growth and for the development of our tissues. So it is a very basic thing. There are 5 components in our food that should be must, means we have to take balanced diet. It should contain carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins and minerals. A specific volume of all these 5 nutrients must be up to a limit. Proteins are the building blocks, carbohydrates are the energy source, vitamins and minerals are very important for different parts of the body, and deficiency of these vitamins may lead to certain kind of syndromes in our body. And fats are required in very minute amount so that our body can undergo normal processes. The water, that is a very important part of our diet. It plays important role because it acts as a universal solvent. Either the vitamins or other soluble simple substances, once they get dissolved in water, then only they can get absorbed in the blood. biomacromolecules, they cannot be utilized. Now, out of these 5, who are the biomacromolecules? Underline, carbohydrates, fats and proteins are called as biomacromolecules. Our body cannot digest directly carbohydrate. The cellulose cannot be digested by the human body. Even the other kind of sugars which we intake, it can be fructose, it can be maltose, it has to be converted into glucose, then only our body can absorb it. Same with the proteins, they have to break down into amino acids and amino acids can be absorbed. So this process of conversion of the complex substances into simple one that can be absorbed easily is called as digestion. And for this, we require a digestive system that plays an important role both as mechanical and biochemical processes. So let's start with such an interesting system called as digestive system. It not only includes alimentary canal. Now what is alimentary canal? It starts from mouth and end till anus, and various kind of glands which are associated with it, such as salivary glands, liver, gastric glands, pancreas, small intestine glands. All of these are playing a very vital role in digestion of food particles that we eat. So let's start. The mouth. It's the very first beginning organ that leads to a buccal cavity or an oral cavity. When you open your mouth, the space inside it is called as buccal cavity. Name 2 things which are present in the oral cavity or buccal cavity. We have teeth and the number 2 is tongue. Let's study about a teeth. Each tooth is embedded in a socket. So in this picture you can see I have shown a teeth is there and a socket is there. As a ball and socket joint is also being studied by you in lower classes. So similarly, when a teeth is embedded in a socket, this kind of feature of presence of such kind of tooth is called as thecodont. So many animals including humans, we have 2 sets of teeth. You must have seen when a child born, he or she only drinks the mother's milk, then followed by some kind of cereals, but that is also blended form. During that time, the child has milk teeth. These milk teeth are temporary teeth, or we can say deciduous teeth. And when the child starts growing, means near the age of 4, 5 or sometimes at 6, 7 age, those milk teeth, they are replaced by a set of permanent teeth that all of us have. The permanent teeth are 32 in number and milk teeth are only 20 in number. This kind of characteristic of mammals that we have 2 sets of teeth is diphyodont. Figure, you can see that we have 4 different kind of teeth. This feature is called as heterodont. So you have to learn 3 basic terms: thecodont, diphyodont and heterodont. We have in the front 4 incisors, then 2 canines, then 4 premolars, and then followed by 6 molars. 4 plus 2 means 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 6, 16. So on the lower jaw, 16 teeth, on the upper jaw, 16 teeth. It means we have 32 teeth. Arrangement of teeth, half in the upper and half in the lower jaw. We call them as I for incisor, C for canine, PM for premolars and M for molars. We have a specific dental formula that is equal to 2, 1, 2, 3 by 2, 1, 2, 3. How this formula came up? If we divide our upper jaw or lower jaw into 2 parts, means we have to do 4 parts of our teeth, then you will say incisors are 2 in number, canine 1, 2 premolars and 3 molars. To brief it out, in this picture you can see if they have shown only the upper jaw, kindly count the number of incisors. They are 4 in number, But if we divide the upper jaw into two parts from the center, if we study only one side teeth, then there will be two incisors, one canines, two premolars and three molars. So how our teeth work? First of all, they bite the food. The incisor, suppose you have to start with an apple. First of all, you will take a bite with the help of incisors. Then it is followed by chewing. Now chewing is done by teeth. They are made up of enamel. Enamel is the hardest part of our body, more than the bones also. It is made up of calcium. That's why it is recommended to take enriched food with calcium so that our bones and our teeth can get more stronger. Help in mastication of food. Mastication means cutting, grinding. Number second organ that is present in the buccal cavity is tongue. It is without bones. It is made up of muscles and it is freely movable. But it is attached to the lower part of our oral cavity. The part which is attaching it, if you take your tongue out and you see on the lower part from where it is attached on the lower surface of the lower jaw, that muscles which are attaching it is called as frenulum. We have so many taste buds present on our upper surface of the tongue. They are called as papillae. They have taste buds. In lower classes, you have studied this structure that the front portion can detect sweetness. Then on both the sides, we can depict the saltness, then the sour food, and at the end, we can taste the bitter food. So the taste bud, they can sense 4 different kind of taste in the different areas of the tongue. Now, after oral cavity, we will come to the pharynx. Pharynx is the common passage where not only food comes, but even the air that we inhale, it also comes in this portion. It is usually advised by your parents and even by the teachers that do not speak while eating. We have to eat our food very quietly, otherwise the food can enter into the windpipe. What will happen when food can enter? It will choke the windpipe. There will be no passage for the air and we can die. So, who prevents the food to enter into the windpipe? That organ is called as epiglottis. It is a flap-like structure. Picture, you can see that there are 2 kinds of pipes. One is called trachea, known as windpipe, and second is written as esophagus. In some books, you can have a spellings of esophagus starting with O and in others with E. So both are equally right. As a sound starts with E, so some books have started writing it with E. So there are 2 pipes that are adjoined with each other. One is windpipe and second is the food pipe. So when we eat, our epiglottis remains closed. But when we started speaking, then the epiglottis flap will start opening. So in the left side, you can see how the epiglottis has opened and the windpipe is now open. You can see 2 vocal cords by which the sound is produced in the body. Let's read it in brief. We have studied about oral cavity that consists of 2 organs, teeth and tongue. Then the food enter into the pharynx. Kindly write down in the notebook, parotid gland, submaxillary and sublingual glands are the salivary glands. So how many pairs of salivary glands do we have? 3 pairs. 3 into 2 is equal to 6. After the food has been swallowed, it will come into the esophagus called as food pipe. So let's study about esophagus. This is a thin, long tube that extends posteriorly, passing through the neck, thorax and diaphragm and leads to a J-shaped bag called as stomach. In the stomach, we have gastric glands and the muscular sphincter regulates the opening of esophagus into the stomach. What is the meaning of sphincter? Sphincter are those parts which will either allow the entry or it can just restrict the entry of substances. Let's say you are drinking water. The water will get filled in stomach. Will it directly pass out through the anus? Or it will first of all revolve in all body parts and helps in dissolution of other substances into it, and then it will get absorbed by our body and then waste will come as a urine. So your second part is correct. Whenever you eat your food, first of all it gets stored in the stomach for few hours because it has to undergo certain digestion steps. That's why sphincters are those flap-like structures which can prevent the entry of food from one organ to the another. Stomach, it is located in the upper left portion of our abdominal cavity and it has 4 major parts. In this you can see fundus, cardiac, body and pyloric. These are the 4 parts of the stomach. Then comes the small intestine. It is also divided into 3 regions. Number 1, duodenum. Number 2, jejunum. And number 3, ileum. Let's study from the diagram. Picture, you can see the C-shaped structure which is directly attached to the stomach is called as duodenum. Means from here the small intestine starts. Then we come to jejunum that has entered inside the most coiled portion called as ileum. So these are the 3 parts of our small intestine that are helping in digestion of the food. So again, the sphincters will guard the entry of the food in the duodenum and the sphincter is known as pyloric sphincter. If I ask you, what will happen when pyloric sphincter is closed? Answer is, food will remain in the stomach. And what will be the answer if pyloric sphincter is opened? Then food will be allowed to enter into the small intestine. Then ileum will open into large intestine. It consists of now 3 parts in it. Let's study. Intestine, if you see from the lower side where the small intestine is entering into large intestine. That portion is called as cecum. Now cecum is going upward. The food will go upward. Then it will go transversely in the transverse colon. Then the food will come down in the descending colon. And ultimately that food which is not absorbed by the body, that we call as a waste or the fecal matter of the food, that will store into the rectum. So it can store for few hours, and when you feel that now it is a time, there's an urgency to remove the waste from your body, then it can come out through anus. Anus also contain anal sphincters. So they are closed. Then the waste or the fecal matter or the excreta cannot come outside of your body. But when you wish, because these muscles are voluntarily, then only you can pass out the waste of your body through anus. Thank you.